Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews with connections in mind, and welcome back to my reaction series to each and every episode of Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Now, if you're just joining this series midstream, this is just my short-form reaction series where I give my thoughts on each episode as they come out, as well as some analysis as to certain plot developments and character arcs that seem familiar and where you may have seen them before. Now, with this being said, without further ado, let's get into Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 11, entitled Perpetual Infinity, in which we continue from the bombshell revelation from the previous week's episode, in which the Red Angel's identity is revealed to be, in fact, Michael Burnham's mother, who was, in fact, flung into the far future by the time suit, and now it is up to the crew of Discovery to try to bring her back into the present timeline. However, Dr. Burnham is still on the mission to prevent the Section 31 AI control from obtaining the data from the alien sphere that was downloaded to Discovery in order to gain sentience, which, as Dr. Burnham states, is the cause of a impending AI uprising, which will lead to the eventual destruction of every single world in the Federation and beyond, essentially wiping out all sentient life within the galaxy and beyond. And while all this is being happening, the AI control, which seems to already have some amount of sentience in its regard, is inhabiting the body of Commander Leland on the Section 31 ship, and it is using his body and his agents, mainly the Mirror Georgiou and Ash Tyler, for its own ends in order to secure that sphere data and get sentience and fulfill its mission, which is to theoretically to protect the Federation, which from the threat of, by its estimation, is the people within it. So this episode, it really didn't answer a whole lot of questions. It did delve us into the Burnham. I think it's this episode's strength lies in how Commander Burnham, is dealing with her mother reappearing from the dead after all this time, the complex emotions that go with it, the fact that her mother is not exactly greeting her with open arms. In fact, that she is trying to push her away for her own good, very much mirroring what she ended up doing to young Spock in her own childhood, trying to push young Spock away to protect him from her. And this, it turns out, this hardening of Burnham's mother over going back in time over and over again and seeing her daughter die multiple times in different timelines, it seems to have an effect on her, as it probably would. And it's interesting to see the dynamics of that and that impact on her as a character. I just think that this probably would have had a little more impact if we had spent any more time with her prior to this, but otherwise, I'd say that was definitely this episode's strength, and how Burnham goes closer to Spock in order to help deal with this situation. That their relationship is repairing itself more and more as these episodes progress, and from the heart-to-heart from previous episodes. So that's a good thing. I like to see how we're progressing on that front. I think that the interesting direction between the motivations between Georgiou, her inner workings, how she's easily manipulated, and how she's able to figure things out as well. That presents an interesting dynamic on how whether she just merely intended to stop control from securing the sphere data, or she intended to secure it for her own means. That is yet to be seen, of course. So that's an interesting development that could come in the weeks beyond. I just felt like the Red Angel story and now the Control story, they're merging, but these feel like they could have potentially been two storylines, that separate seasons worth of storylines, because they've built up the mystery of the Red Angel for so long. Now this episode, we're essentially playing catch up now. It's like, all right, the Red Angel is Burnham's mother, now go. We're get back into this event. So I feel like that's sort of a disservice to the season as a whole with this episode, at least as far as the writing goes. I feel like that reveal in hindsight probably should have come a little earlier if we're going to be dealing with how to face Control, since I believe there were only 3 more episodes after this of this season. So that's going to be a lot to wrap up in that short amount of time, and who knows what that's going to entail. So it'll be interesting to see how they progress, but I feel like what strengths this episode had got hurt by how the writing is having to play catch up with the rest of the season and having to switch gears fairly rapidly in order to pivot to new threat, new adversary, new focus, and we're maybe not giving these stories as much due as they probably should be. Like, maybe focus on Burnham's mother a little more and maybe on Control less. Who knows? All I know is it feels like it's slightly not, the balance is slightly off somehow. And I'll be curious to see how they progress from here. I'm just concerned that that balance might not work out as well. And I'm just saying that from a season that's been getting better and better, it's starting to feel just slightly rocky with how it might be sticking the landing on this one. I don't know. That might just be me. So those are my main thoughts on this episode. Now for some analysis on where you may have seen it before. This whole storyline of the AI that has been programmed with a core set of directives in order for the benefit of mankind or the Federation or what a nation, whatever, has been done to death a whole bunch of times in sci-fi films. And the fact that this program decides to learn to the fact where its interpretation leads it to the conclusion that humanity or the nation, the people of the nation itself, are in fact the threat, and they must be eliminated to protect the nation or the people itself. I've seen that before you may have seen it before in the Will Smith iRobot with the computer program Vicky, with her strict interpretation of the 3 laws. And another potentially interesting connection would be with the Shia LaBeouf film Eagle Eye, with the program that is programmed to defend against threats to the U.S., and its solution is in fact to kill the president and install a new leader to steer the nation in a new direction. Of course, that's unethical in how it proceeded. There's an interesting parallel there. Also, the fact that this program infiltrated the human body of Leland, very much like a Borg, interestingly enough, with how they proceeded to go, which makes me wonder where all this Borg-like nanotechnology has been sitting around all this time, or if this is just the future technology from Control come back in time, and how that might pollute the timeline, how this is all going to get cleaned up somehow in the timeline in order to not affect the original series with Captain Kirk. Who knows what that's going to do? But anyway, that whole thing of the program infiltrating a human body and co-opting them to try to get close to certain people, kind of similar, of course, to Agent Smith co-opting, what's the guy's name? I don't remember, but from The Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolution. No, Bane, that's right, Bane. Sorry. Yeah, and he infiltrates the guy's body and goes on to try to get close to Neo at that point. So there's a parallel there. Those are my main parallels. I'm sure I've missed some, but what did you think of this episode as a whole? Did you like it? Did you not like it? About my analysis, do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? As I said, I probably missed something. If I missed something, let me know in the comments down below. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my reaction to next week's episode of Discovery, as well as when the Orville comes back from hiatus. I'm doing a reaction to each and every episode of Season 2 of the Orville, as well as I also do movie reviews on my channel, which is the main focus of it, and I'll be posting a review of the live-action remake of Dumbo this weekend. Yeah, be sure to look for all of that on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. As I said, you guys are the best. Thank you for tuning in, but just remember, there's nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.